YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and we're reacting to another NFL mock draft. Peter Schrager came out with his first mock draft. He usually only does one, and I'm really excited actually to take a look at this and break it down because, yeah, he usually only does one every single year, and it's really based on what he hears from NFL teams because he has those contacts. So that's definitely interesting. Most people kind of just go off their knowledge prediction, but I believe, based off the past, what he's done in the past at least, he's kind of gone off of what he's actually heard from those teams. So definitely interesting. It's an interesting mock. We'll check it out. We do our own mocks. We'll have an updated one maybe early next week with my predictions and all kinds of NFL draft content. We'll have grades, winners and losers throughout the draft and after the draft. So join us for that. Subscribe. Check out walkthemock.com. You see underneath me, use code GOATHOUSE if you sign up. It's where we do our member mock drafts. Follow our Twitter. Fan voted mock draft going on there. We'll take a look at that right now, actually. Yeah, so we are on the Chargers pick. So you guys are voting every step of the way, and we'll make a video out of that. So something a little different there, not just reaction mocks or my mocks, and we can react to the fan voted mock once it's done. There's a giveaway going on here too. If you're part of our Twitter, if you're following us on Twitter, you already know. But there's a jersey giveaway here. You sign up for Walk the Mock, use code GOATHOUSE. You just go to our Twitter and find it, but there's links in the comment section as well. Let's go on to this mock draft made by Peter Schrager, his first one. It might be his only one. He might do another one. We still got a little bit, a little under a month to go. Maybe he'll do another one. But, he's got Trevor Lawrence to the Jags. No surprise. Zach Wilson to the Jets. Everybody has Mac Jones going third. I don't even know what to make of Mac Jones going third anymore. It's just like it sounds like it's happening. And there's, like we talked about before, there's no reason for there to be smoke. There's no reason for the Niners to spread the smoke. There really is no reason, And the last few years when we feel like there's no reason for a team to put smoke out there, end up being true. There's no smoke. So based on the last few years, this is going to happen. But it's hard for me to believe because I just don't think he's the best fit. Sure, I think he can fit. I don't think he's the best fit, and I don't think he's definitely not the best available quarterback. I do like Mac Jones. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it sure sounds like it's happening. So I'm kind of on the fence on it still because there's other picks that just make more sense, and they trade all that away. So I'm just it has to be something else. It can't be this, but it really is sounding like it's Mac Jones. It really is right now. So. It's definitely an interesting one. And then we got the Patriots trading up to 4 to take Justin Fields. I think that's pretty realistic. That's something to look out for. We know the Falcons are in talks about possibly trading back, but it's really not there. They want to be in talks. It's more of the teams, obviously, calling them. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot to get this pick. It really is. It could be the Patriots. What the Patriots did this free agency, they got so many players. They built the roster, and that kind of felt like a team that was preparing to, give away a lot. It's okay to give away a lot if you built the team, a balanced team. Remember, they're getting a bunch of opt-outs back as well. It's a very dangerous, complete team. They just need a quarterback. So it feels like they put themselves in position to do something like this. It's kind of what I was explaining before free agency. There's always teams that try to do this. I was kind of thinking maybe the Colts are a team that was before they trade for Carson Wentz. Maybe they're a team that does it, but maybe just too far of a trade up, and they end up getting Carson Wentz. And free agency went a little different than I thought. So I thought they would maybe be this team a long time ago. And as we see free agency unfolding, the Patriots making all these moves, adding all these players, it kind of felt like they were getting ready to do this. Will they complete the task, though? It's not guaranteed. You can't just be like, we want to trade up, and it happens. Other teams are going to battle for it, and the Falcons have to be willing to accept it. They could stay put. Take a quarterback that's kind of going cold. They could stay put and take a generational talent like Kyle Pitts that you just don't see every day. So Patriots straight up. I've also heard recently that there's teams calling to trade up to 4 that are not necessarily looking for quarterbacks. They're looking for those rare prospects, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase. I said Jamar Chase might be the best receiver prospect since Julio Jones. Remember what the Falcons did? Happens to be the Falcons picking 4. Not that they're going to pick Chase. Remember what they did to go up and get Julio. It could be a similar situation here with Jamar Chase. So definitely interesting. We'll see who wins that battle. We'll go up to 4. We'll see if it happens at all. There was some trade hype before last year's draft around these parts. It didn't really happen. But that was because teams realized they could stay put and get their guy. Bengals go Jamar Chase. This is what I've been having. You could argue Penei Sewell. You can argue Rashawn Slater. Kyle Pitts, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he said that as well. Bengals can't go wrong if things play out this way. Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Kyle Pitts, all would be excellent selections for Cincinnati. So, yeah, they're sitting in a pretty good spot. I'm just trying to figure out what makes the most sense. And I guess the mystery of what they're going to do with Jonah Williams makes it a mystery, I guess, because if they keep him at left tackle and they like Riley Reid for right tackle, I mean, it's only a one-year deal there. They did pay him $7.5 million to start at right tackle, and they don't want to move Jonah Williams to guard. They're probably not going tackle here unless they really want one of these guys for guard. Maybe they like Elijah Vera Tucker. I think it's way too early for that. But, it's likely, if that's the case, they're going with Chase or Pitts. If we've found out today, that they're moving Jonah Williams, like 100%. If they said it, though, I wouldn't really believe them right now at this time. Could be smoke. But if we found out 100% certain that they're moving Jonah Williams to guard, I'm putting all my money in. They're taking the tackle. They're probably taking, I'd say, Penei Sewell, even though we're hearing Slater could go before him. But yeah, what makes the most sense is Jamar Chase at the moment. I think they want to keep Jonah Williams at left tackle. Jamar Chase is a fit at the type of receiver they're looking for, ex-receiver, and he fits any team in general. And he has that chemistry with Joe Burrow. It makes the best receiver trio in football, perhaps, maybe debatably, but definitely the best young receiver trio. So that pick makes sense to me. Remember the last couple of mocks, I've had Slater to the Dolphins, and people got a little upset with me about that. Looks like Peter Schrager's got it as well. And he says what I said in the last mock draft I did. We're starting to hear that from teams that Slater could go before Sewell. There's several teams that, and all it takes is one team. It depends on who's on the clock. Maybe the Dolphins like Sewell better. Who knows? Maybe they like Pitts better than both of them. But yeah, teams are liking Slater quite a bit. And I keep saying, did the Dolphins kind of have in mind a player in mind that they had to have when doing this, when trading back up to 6? And if that is the case, they had to be damn sure the Bengals aren't going to take him. I guess they could take Slater, but it's got to be – I feel like it's somebody just out there a little bit. They could have very well done it because there's a couple players they like, and they're good with any of them. It's possible as well. It tends to be option A when teams do the same. It tends to be they have – 99% of the time, teams have, especially picking this early, have a specific player in mind. All of you out there, if you love the draft, you kind of go through your head which player you like this much. There's a separation. Even if it's close, there's some sort of separation. So I think they have a player in mind that they know they can get at 6, that they have to have, a player that they could not get in their minds at 12. Could it be Slater? We'll see. The good thing here is he can play left or right tackle. I think he can play guard as well, but I think if you draft him here, I think you put him at tackle. I think they put him at right tackle, to be honest. Robert Hunt at guard sounds pretty good. Austin Jackson left tackle. They could swap Slater and Jackson if that's the case, but I think they put Slater. Slater started his career at right tackle, was pretty good, so we'll see. Crazy one here. Cardinals trade up to 7. Remember when we were talking about 4, pick 4 of the Falcons? Is everyone's talking about who's trading up for the quarterback, who's taking that Falcons pick. In this mock, it was the Patriots. But it might not be a quarterback. Like we were saying, somebody could trade up for a receiver and tight end, Chase or Pitts, I should say. In fact, there are multiple teams that have called up that other teams feel like they don't want a quarterback. So could it be the Cardinals? Does Peter Schrager know something here? This is one of the teams calling to get up for a guy like Kyle Pitts. Interesting. They come up to 7. That's kind of a win in a way. You don't have to go up to 4. You go up to 7, and you still get Pitts. So you got to kind of hold out hope that the Bengals and Dolphins don't take him if he's their guy. I would love Pitts in this offense. I think it would make it a dominant offense. I make a lot of mock drafts. I deal with a lot of comments, and it kind of builds up my mind. I really look them over. And I notice something strong. There's some fan bases that come on pretty strong. Cardinals fans, they seem to be pretty upset when you don't give them a corner. It's pretty much cornerback or nothing. So in this case, they traded up, gave away picks. Those picks could help get the corner still. They gave away the picks, and they still don't get that corner. So even though it's Kyle Pitts, based on what I've seen in the comments on Twitter, on YouTube here, I would imagine the Cardinals fans wouldn't be happy about this. I would like Pitts for them, but it feels like cornerback or bust to them, which I don't really agree with. But trading away picks and not getting a corner, which you can't really look at things like that. But I would imagine, based on what I've seen, they wouldn't be. Maybe some of them would like. I mean, it's Pitts. It's nothing really you can get upset about with Pitts, but that'd be interesting to see how they react to that. But it'd be a really good offense, let me tell you. Panthers go Sewell. Yeah, at this point, it feels like they're going O-line. Like I've been saying, it could be Slater, could be Sewell. Depends on who's there. If they're both there, I'd prefer Sewell for them. But there's a good amount of teams that apparently like Slater better than Sewell. So we will see. There was some thought maybe they go with a guy like J.C. Horner, Patrick Surtain. They did sign Bouye last night. Doesn't mean a whole lot. He was suspended last year, had some injuries and declining. But it felt like I've seen teams, that's interesting. That could be a smoke play, really. I've seen teams kind of make those smaller deals just to make teams go, all right, they're not taking a corner. We don't have to trade ahead of them. So they could be taking a corner. That could be one of those plays. It's happened before. It's kind of somewhat of smart unless you're like really short on cap space. So I guess it doesn't mean anything. But right now it's looking like Dante Jackson and AJ Bouye to be their starting corners. And I still say it's most likely offense line. If Sewell and Slater are both gone, we could be looking at a trade back, or we could be looking at a guy like J.C. Horn, perhaps Surtain as well as a possibility. So, but yeah, this pick makes sense. Broncos go Trey Lance. This would be ideal for the Broncos that he just falls right in their lap, unless, maybe their guy is Justin Fields. The Patriots, people make that educated guess, good guess, that the Broncos and the Patriots are teams trying to trade up to 4 for that quarterback. What we don't know is which quarterback. What we don't know is, do they have a couple quarterbacks in mind that they're okay with? I'd say if a team trades up that far, gives up, especially the Patriots, gives up that much, I think they have that one quarterback that they would like. Maybe the Broncos are a team that has 2. It's just educated guesses here. But if they could stay put and get Lance, that'd be fantastic. The thing about the Broncos, there's a good about them trading up, and then there's a bad about them trading up. The good is it kind of makes sense because this is a really good roster. I love this roster. It's very solid. Quarterback's question mark. So if you got a complete roster, go get your quarterback. Get it done. Get it done. So that it makes sense in that way. The bad is, do you trade up from 9 to 4 just to beat out a team like the Patriots that you don't really know for sure if the Patriots are calling? We can guess all we want. You don't know for sure. So you could be, and keep in mind, Falcons, Bengals, Dolphins, Lions pick here, and Panthers. It doesn't really feel like any of those teams are taking a quarterback. So could they be trading up? Could it be an unnecessary trade up? You kind of wonder that, but I guess better safe than sorry, maybe. But I'm just curious on all these teams' number one quarterback. We probably won't even find out at the end of the day. A team could, they can sit put at 9 and take Trey Lance, and we'll still be wondering, was he actually the number one quarterback? We won't really know. Interesting stuff. Cowboys go Patrick Surtain. Seems to be a common pick. Yeah, if Surtain or Horn are on the board here, it's got to be one of them. They could go pass rusher. What I've been hearing now is Christian Barmore is supposed to go inside the top 15. It's a possibility. And I was trying to, looking at top 15 teams, somebody could trade up, of course. I'm trying to think, where's the best fit? What makes sense? I think the Cowboys is one of those teams. I wouldn't predict it. 10th overall, a little early. But it's something maybe sneaky to look out for. But Patrick Surtain makes sense. Giants go Micah Parsons. Good options here for the Giants for defensive players. Micah Parsons, Jalen Phillips specifically. But yeah, Parsons, and those two are top 2 candidates for the best defensive player in the draft, in my opinion. Just absolute freaks. Parsons would play inside for the Giants. They would blitz him a ton. It would make the defense a lot better. So yeah, I would like this pick for them. Eagles go Jalen Waddle, so they get their receiver there. Could go Devontae Smith as well. Medical checks are actually happening today through Saturday, Sunday, around that range. It's fantastic news that that's going down. Because they didn't have the combine. It'd be pretty big for Waddle because he had an ankle injury and he was out for a bit, and then he came back too early, and you see he was limping around the field. And so that means he's healing at a slow pace, and did he re-injure it even more? And ankle injuries are weird. They're not major, but it's one of those injuries that, once you do it for the first time or the second time, they happen more frequently. So it is a little scary there. So it's good news that the checks are a thing right now, so we'll see what happens there. We'll probably make a mock draft early next week. I think could base a lot off that because that will matter, the medical checks. Eagles grab Waddle. Chargers go Darsaw. maybe the earliest Darsaw goes, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think this is the earliest he probably goes. It's a possibility he goes. But they get their left tackle there, which they need. They had Lindsley, could possibly be the best center in football. We'll see if he is outside of Green Bay. It doesn't really impact the offensive line that much. You got to go to work on this offensive line still, specifically the left side here. Two teams in a row are in the same boat, Chargers and the Vikings. These teams might be so desperate for offensive line, they just have to take them while there's just other appealing players on the board here. Chargers, it kind of makes sense because they could go Devontae Smith. That would be appealing. But I really like a guy like Patrick Surtain for him. He's off the board, so it's okay maybe to get desperate. It's not desperate where you reach. It's not like a reach desperation mode. It's more of just passing on better overall players, perhaps, because Darsaw's not a reach there. But the Vikings, they go Kwity Paye there, who's a fit at defensive end. But, they absolutely need offensive line right now. But do they pass on a guy that they have higher on their board? And they could go a guy like Elijah Vera Tucker, but you're passing on somebody that's probably a little higher on your board. I mean, who knows? Vera Tucker's very good. Could be pretty high up. But they go Kwity Paye as a fit. Falcons traded back. I would imagine they get an insane amount. 4 to 15. They got a lot. They got a lot there. And they take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I like a lot. Trying to figure out if he's a fit in this new defense, Dean Pease defense. They could use him in the slot. He's in a blitz a lot. He could blitz him. I don't know if it can fit. It's just not a, he needs a specific fit, I think. So is it it's an interesting one. Very curious to see where he lands. But this would be, oh man, if the Lions traded back to 16, going from 7 to 16, getting whatever they got, insane amount, and get Devontae Smith, that'd be the winner of the draft, as we're going through this scenario so far. That'd be the big-time winner, which the night after the first round, that night of, I give winners and losers. The next morning, I grade every single first-round pick, and then we predict mock second, third round. We do this every year. Do it again this year. It's something that you would see if this happened. I'd be all over the Lions in a good way about something like this. This would be fantastic. Raiders go Greg Newsome. I'm not predicting it to happen, but it's a Raiders move. They surprisingly took Damon Arnett. Newsome getting a lot of buzz. What do you say here? The teams are higher on Northwestern cornerback than the rest of the draft media. He's a good corner. I guess small sample size of playing at his best ball is just kind of just the 5-6 games this year. But he's very, very good young corner there. Do the Ravens really need another young corner, though? I really thought they could still get a veteran guy. I really thought they would. I really thought they would bring in either Casey Hayward, Richard Sherman. Happens to be that those two guys are still available out there. So we'll see if they do that. At this point, it is ideal to, and if you're going to pick those guys up, don't pick them up now because you're kind of giving away what's happening. If you kind of get an agreement with one of them after the draft, if possible, that'd be ideal. That'd be an interesting pick. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I like Newsome maybe a little early. I just don't think the Raiders go corner, but Dolphins go Najee Harris. I don't see this one happening either, but Peter Schrager seems to think that's obviously what happens here. I don't think you need to use this early of a pick for a guy like Harris. But it's, the Dolphins last year, they took Tua, we all expected that. Then they took Austin Jackson, which there was some buzz about them taking him, but I just didn't think there was any way they were taking him that early, and I think a lot of you out there thought the same thing. They ended up doing it. So maybe, and then they took Noah Igbenogwe with their later pick. That was a surprising pick. So they could make these picks. You never know what's going to happen with the Dolphins there. Washington takes Trevon Moehrig. I'm not another one I don't necessarily agree with here. They got rookie standout from last year, Cameron Curl. They got Landon Collins. But Moehrig's best safety, they could definitely find a way, put Landon Collins at more of the linebacker role, like a robber role, which tends to play safety sometimes. And then you can use all three, I guess is what I'm getting at the same time. So it's possible. I just don't see it happening. Bears, Bears, I've been mocking them playmakers. They could go offense. I think they go offense. I think they're trying to value offense a little more. So it would make a lot of sense to go offense. Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, like those guys for them. Sure, Rashad Bateman. I mean, they could grab Tevin Jenkins, so it's a possibility. Yeah, so I can see this pick. The Colts grab J.C. Horn. See, I don't see J.C. Horn dropping here. This would be fantastic for the Colts, though. Maybe just too good to pass. Physical corner that kind of fits their defense. Corner isn't that valuable in their defense. That's one thing because they kind of just cover the flat, but they have to be really good at press and understanding when to let go of the receiver that they're guarding. You can't do it too early, too late. I think Horn would be really good at it. But where do the Colts value the cornerback position? In general, it's not. They wouldn't really value the cornerback position in the first round, especially when they have other pretty giant needs, left tackle, pass rusher. But a guy like Horn, you have to make an exception there perhaps. So I like that pick. I don't see Phillips dropping here, but who knows? He has the past injuries. I almost think, with the lack of medical checks, which again, they're supposed to go on. That's fantastic. But I almost think like broken bones or guys that had surgery, in serious spots, a little more concerning than a guy with concussions because there isn't. Everybody in the NFL gets concussions. It's not something that is going to break a bone and then he's going to be out forever. So I'm not as worried on Phillips as everyone else. Titans just picked up Bud Dupree. They have Harold Landry, but it's just too good to pass. I mean, it's the best pass rusher in the class. It didn't take me long. It was months ago. I was tweeting it out. As soon as I put on the film, like, this is the most talented pass rusher in the class. It was very obvious. Very obvious. There's guys that have tons of upside that maybe can pass him. I think he has upside as well. But the Titans' pass rush would be going from worst to close to first, with adding Phillips along with Bud Dupree, and Bud Dupree makes everyone else better, and they had Danico Autry up front as well. It'd be ridiculous. Jets go Rondale Moore. They could use a shifty receiver like that. They got Corey Davis, possession receiver that can play inside and out. Denzel Mims, a sideline receiver, going to be a good one out there. Jamison Crowder, probably don't have to count him. Because probably one more year there for him, and they'll be moving on. And they had Keelan Cole, kind of like another Corey Davis type player. So they really don't have this guy for the future. So I guess I can see it maybe a little early, a little risky with Rondale Moore because you got to work with him with the route running ability, and could be a gadget player. But the Jets could really benefit from a gadget player like that. He said it too. I was just thinking that before I even saw it. Talking about Deebo Samuel. I was going to say it could be Deebo Samuel, the Niners coaching staff coming from now with the Jets. It could be that type of player. I wouldn't really compare the two but they can use him in the same way, like a gadget guy. But Deebo Samuel got a little more to his game, even though Moore is much quicker. Steelers go Landon Dickerson. Yeah, possibility. It's a tough one to predict, too. We'll see how the medical checks go for Landon Dickerson. I don't know if those are going to, because they're still going to show that he just got injured, not that long ago. So I don't know if it's really going to, I guess, to see if he's progressing at a normal rate for a kid, I guess, going in the NFL. But if teams, it's a tough one to predict where he'll go because if teams are just confident, like he's not going to get hurt again, he's looking good, he's going to be ready, he's going to go in the first round. He's going to go in the first. He's going to go probably right here, But we just don't know, really. We just don't know, so it's tough. We'll see how those medical checks go. Jags get Jason away. It'd be an interesting one. The raw pass rusher sounds familiar. They took the raw pass rusher last year, Clavon Chason. We knew he probably could struggle a little bit right away because he's just an upside freaky guy. So they grab another one of those. So what are they going to do with the three pass rushers they got? They got Josh Allen, they got Clavon Chason, Jason Away. Such an important position that, I guess you can't be afraid to get even better there, but would be interesting if they kind of go back to, it is a different staff, but if you go back-to-back years getting that same type of guy there. Gregory Rousseau to the Browns. It's a possibility. They'll like his length, his freakish ability. He definitely needs to grow more as an actual edge rusher. He has better production on the inside, which shows his versatility. But I think learning with that defensive staff, but mainly a guy like Myles Garrett playing opposite of him, would help. That would help. Ravens go Caleb Farley. Something you don't see, but the Ravens are that team with the cornerbacks when they know when they have to get better at the position or they have to retool at the position before they have to retool at the position. That is the Ravens. There's a lot of teams like that for offensive line. Saints, Packers, those teams will take offensive linemen when you don't really think they need offensive linemen. It's because they don't want to miss a beat. They know how important it is. And those teams stand out. They stand out for so long with those. And there's probably more teams that do the same thing for offensive line. There's teams that, we'll see quarterbacks, kind of get, the Packers maybe with Jordan Love last year, they did it with Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. And then you got the Ravens who do the same thing with cornerbacks. So that's why I guess I can see this. Everyone's expecting it's got to be receiver, Orlando Brown replacement, or pass rusher. But they can just sneak in a corner there and go Caleb Farley just because, maybe they love the duo of Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. It's so important to them, but maybe they view the future as Humphrey and Farley there. And how long is Peters going to be around for? Maybe they don't think they need to retool it yet. Who knows? All I'm saying is it's not super likely, but I can see it. I can see it because it's one of those teams. Saints go Zaven Collins. Yeah, he's been getting a lot of buzz. This actually might be the latest he goes. Before I was thinking early second, but it sounds like this might be the latest he goes. If he's here, I think it's a realistic pick for the Saints. They like to pair him with Demario Davis. That'd be a pretty good linebacker group there. Packers go linebacker as well. They go Nick Bolton, high motor, instinctive linebacker, flies around the field. They would like him in inside there as well. We know the Packers need receiver, defensive line, linebacker, but it's almost like we fully expect them not to go with their biggest needs, but we'll see. But I would like Bolton for them. Bills go Asante Samuel Jr., guy that's a borderline first, second round pick. I think he could fit the Bills. Kind of reminds me a little bit like Travis White when he was coming out. So I think he could fit the Bills there. Chiefs go Terrace Marshall. Would be interesting to see them get more of a lengthy receiver. But I think it's a lengthy receiver that they would like. Plays a lot in the slot, plays outside. Pretty good footwork for a bigger guy. And they kind of don't. They miss that. We saw that at times last year. They didn't have that contested catch guy at the receiver position. They got Kelsey, so they could kind of use that. And a surprising one here, the Bucs go Davis Mills. He's saying that he's getting a lot of buzz. We know that he could be the sixth quarterback taken, possibly first round. So could be. As a pretty solid Tom Brady type quarterback, I suppose. I don't know if they do it though. I think that quarterback's got to be wow. This is for sure the next guy after Tom Brady because they're trying to go back to back here. Of course, anybody would. And to do that, it's a pretty damn complete team, probably the most complete in football. Big reason why they won the Super Bowl, but they could use some things. They could use a defensive lineman. They could use a shiftier receiver. Daniel Jeremiah had Elijah Moore going here. He doesn't. I think Elijah Moore goes first round. I think he goes first round. They like Tyler Johnson from Minnesota a lot. They may like Rashad Bateman, that much more. So they could go that route as well in this scenario. He didn't have Barmore going, which is interesting because we've been hearing from teams around the league that Barmore's higher in the media, and that's what Schrager bases things off of. But he didn't have him going here. But sometimes there's just more than 32 guys that just feel like first-round guys to teams, and not all of them end up going because really most of these teams only have one pick, so each team only can pick their favorite guy at that time. So another guy that they liked as a first-rounder slips through. People forget that's how it works. The draft's freaking crazy here. And that's why it's the best time of year. Very unpredictable. You never know what to expect. It's just like at the third pick. I don't even know at this point. The Niners are playing with me, and I love not knowing. I absolutely love it. It feels like it's Mac Jones. It almost feels like you're an idiot if you don't say it's Mac Jones because it's Mac Jones. But it just doesn't make as much sense as a Justin Fields in my opinion. So that's why I'm being a little stubborn, but I can't wait to see what happens because it's unknown at this point for me, even though a lot of these people think it's just very obvious, but we will see. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this mock. And we can do more of these, but we got a lot of NFL draft content, sleeper videos. My prospect rankings will start hopefully later next week. Almost done with all my film. And, we'll get going on that. A bunch of mock drafts, fan vote and mock on our Twitter, all kinds of NFL draft content. So join us, subscribe, smash that like button. Make sure you follow that Twitter link in the comments for anything you need. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.